What's up, sports bettors? This video should be very informative to both beginning and advanced sports bettors. It is titled The Most Important Terms That You Need to Know in Sports Betting for 2022. So next we have the term doubling down, which I use very frequently. So let's say you place a bet. You bet $50 on a team to win. The line keeps moving in your favor. That bet improves from 3% edge when you initially placed your bet to now it's 6% edge. It's even better. You doubled down. You bet $100 more. This is a very important term to know as a sports bettor. Number one, we have vig or juice. That is how much money the sportsbook is making if bets are placed on opposite sides. A vig is 4%. The sportsbook is earning 4% if there's equally offsetting bets. $100 in wagers total is $4 for the sportsbook. So two terms that are important are square bettors and sharp bettors. Sharp bettors are mathematically profitable bettors. Square bettors are people who lose a lot of money and feed the sports books and keep them in business. Now, both, important distinction, sharp bettors and square bettors can be degenerate. Being a degenerate bettor means you bet degenerately. Next, we have closing line value, which means how your bet performs versus the closing line. You place a bet at minus 120 odds, the line closes minus 130, you clearly got a great price. Closing line value is the number one indicator in determining if you are going to be a profitable sports bettor or not. If you are consistently placing bets at minus 110 odds and those bets are closing plus 100 odds, you are going to lose a lot of money sports betting. If you're consistently placing bets at minus 110 odds and the lines are closing minus 120, you are going to be a very profitable sports bettor. Both non-profitable bettors and profitable bettors will have winning streaks and losing streaks, but closing line value is the ultimate indicator of whether or not a sports bettor makes money. So next we have the term onshore sportsbook or legal sportsbook and offshore sportsbook. So onshore sportsbooks are legally regulated and governed by the United States, right? DraftKings, Fanduel, BetMGM, they're not going to steal your money. Offshore sportsbooks are largely based in the Caribbean and are a lot more sketchy, to say the least. A lot of them only allow depositing into their platform with cryptocurrency. About as sketchy as it gets. Next, we have the term edge. Edge is your expected profit margin on a bet you place. You place a bet with 5% edge. For every $100 you bet, you expect $5 in profit over the course of the long run. Now, a closely related term is EV. EV takes into account the size of your bet. So if you place a $200 bet with 5% edge, then you just made $10 in EV. So next we have the term lottery ticket. So lottery tickets often relate to parlays, and it's just a bet with very high odds that is unlikely to hit. But if you win, there's a big payout on the other side. Next, we have the term futures market. So a futures market is betting on something that is far in the future, aka the NBA championship winner. You're not betting on a game that's happening in 2 days, you're betting on who's going to win the entire championship. Examples of futures for NBA would be championship winner, division winner, conference winner, most season wins. Things like that aren't going to settle today or tomorrow or based off of one specific game. They settle off a wide variety of games that are going to happen over the next, few months or year. So next we have Pinnacle Sportsbook, and you probably already know what I'm going to say. It's the sharpest sportsbook in the world, the greatest of all time in terms of sportsbooks. Low vig, low juice, allows arbitrage betting, allows sharp action, very focused on keeping their customers happy. In terms of sportsbook sharpness, we probably next would have something like Bookmaker, Heritage, Circa, and Bet Online. Those are probably the 5 sharpest sportsbooks out there. So we have two closely related terms. We have tilt and we have chasing losses. So chasing losses is a very common term. Let's say you lose 3 bets in a row, you're down $500, so you start betting bigger on more unprofitable things to try to recoup that money that you lost. This is a surefire way to lose a lot of money sports betting. If you lost 3 bets in a row, that isn't correlated to your next bet. This means that you are an absolute addict. Next, we have the term tilt. Tilt is typically used to describe when your team is winning, that you bet on, and then they end up losing the game. You are tilted. A common way that you would say this is, man, I bet on the Nets money line, they were up 7, and then they ended up losing to the Warriors. I am tilted. That is how you use that word. Start incorporating it in your vocabulary tomorrow. Next, we have the term gambling gods. This term should be reserved to the most important of your bets. You have one of the biggest bets of your life. It's 2-2, the 9th inning. You're hoping your team can squeak it out. Biggest bet you have. What you do is you pray to the gambling gods, but you do not want to abuse the power of the gambling gods, because oftentimes if you pray to them too much, they don't allow your bets to win anymore. So next we have the term fading. So fading typically refers to when someone is talking about a particular bet, you don't like their opinion, so what you do is you end up betting on the opposing team. You are fading their bet. Very valuable term. I love to fade people. So next we have the terms parlay and closely related same game parlay. So a parlay means you have to win at least 2 bets in order to win your wager. You parlay the Nets and the Bucks to win. You will only win your bet if both the Nets and the Bucks win. Closely related is same game parlay. So a same game parlay is something like Chiefs and over 45 points in the Chiefs game. Your bet will only win if the Chiefs win the game and there's over 45 points in the game. Both typically have very high vig, very high juice, and are common bets of very square, unprofitable sports bettors. Next, we have the term dead. A bet is dead. That means even though the game isn't over, you believe there is no hope. So let's say your team is down 6-0. You bet on a team to win an MLB game. They're down 6-0 in the 8th inning. Your bet is dead. You placed a bad bet. Next, we have 2 terms very commonly referred to by squares. We have lock and we have full send. So a lock is something that people say it's impossible to lose. This bet is a lock. Of course, that's not possible in sports betting. Sports has variance. Your bet is never a lock. Next, we have full send, which is very common in terms of parlay betting. It is when you place a big bet on a parlay that is very unlikely to hit and you're most likely to lose your money. Full send. Next, we have a term public money or public betting, fading the public. This is the most useless thing I've ever heard about. These are random percentages thrown on certain sports betting websites, and it means absolutely nothing. Don't fall for the trap of following public money betting trends. It is foolish. So next we have the top terms that you should use whenever you hit a great bet and you're trying to brag. So typically my favorite terms are dummy lit. Dummy lit. That bet was dummy lit. That's how I use it in practice. And then elite. That bet was elite. Those are the 2 most important terms that you should start incorporating into your vocabulary. Now I will note, if you are below maybe 20 years of age, you should use the term sick.